Hi, it's Don Maxwell from Live IT Academy. Uh, Today's lesson is on entering labels and values in Excel. If you notice, there's a series of lessons that we've been doing, but we're continuing to give you a basic fundamental of entering information in Excel. We're going to be working with Excel 2016 today. All right. So the first thing you want to do when entering text or values is to select a cell. So let's go ahead and select the A1 cell. And note that when you do select the A1 cell, it has a dark rim around that cell. That is set to be the cell pointer. In addition to that, when you select the cell, we are in the ready mode. See at the bottom here, in the ready mode. Also, look at the cursor. It looks like a very fat plus sign. See that? I'm moving it around right now. All right, that's a very that is the ready mode cursor. Right, that means I can select any cell anywhere when I'm in the ready mode. All right, A1 cell. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and type a title of a report. We're going to look at regional shoe sales report. That's what we're going to be creating today. All right, so let's go ahead and type regional shoe sales. Now, it's a title, so I'm going to notice I can go in the formula bar as well and correct, or I can double click, and we're going to explain more of that in the cell to do the correction, right? But we just typed a title label. And note that the title label appears to be in B1 and C1 as well, right? So, but the text is really contained in A1. I'm going to click on, off and then click back on A1, and you will see that the labels appear not only in the cell but in the formula bar. If I should click on B1 or even C1, nothing appears in the formula bar, right? So whenever you're typing and you have the adjacent cell that's empty, there's no data in it, the data in the active cell could appear to be in other cells. So keep that in mind. All right. Next, I'm going to skip a row 2, and I'm going to go to row 3. And I could put a label here, but I'm not. I'm going to put my next label in B4, right? And that label is going to be East. All right, so for Eastern region, all right, Eastern region. All right, note that as I type, I'm in the enter mode, right? I click on the cell and I'm in the enter mode. Before we were in the ready mode. When we're in the enter mode, you could see that the cursor is in the cell. You see that animated bar in the cell? That is my insertion point, right? That is the like a pencil point. That's what I'm writing with, right? And I can move it around by using the arrow keys as well, right? So I can move it around within the cell, right? Okay. Next, I want to be able to enter data in the C4 cell, right? Notice I have the enter button here in the formula bar, but I'm going to use the tab key on my keyboard because that puts me in the C4 cell, right? So I went from the B4 to the C4 by simply pressing the tab key, or you could press the arrow key, the directional keys as well. That's an option. Now the next the next label that I want to write is west, right? And these are all labels, east, west. And again, as I said, if I did press the enter button here, notice I'm still on the cell, the C4 as an active cell, but I'm no longer in the enter mode. I'm now in the ready mode. So I have to tab over, right? And I'm in the ready mode, but I'm going to double click and change that mode to the enter mode. My cursor, now I can write east, west, how about north, right? And so let's repeat that process for the next one. Just tab over and put the word south, east, west, north, south. So let's pretend these are various regions of some kind of shoe sales. All right, so you saw that we can use the tab key, the enter key, or the arrow key, right? And you also see that we can accept the entry and any active and go on to the next cell, right? So just by clicking the typing in the enter mode, clicking the tab key, I'm going on to the next cell. All right, so the next set of labels that I would like to put in my report is the products, right? The products. So I'm going to use my mouse and click on cell A5. And the labels that I'm going to put here are the sneakers, shoes, sandals, accessory, and even miscellaneous items. So let's go ahead and type those. And I'm simply typing the same way, right? I'm in the enter mode, right? Right? So, but notice now that I want to go to the cell below, right? Not the adjacent cell, the cell below A5. In other words, I want to go to A6. So if I press the enter button on my keyboard, it takes me to A6, and now I'm in the ready mode. The ready mode, right? So let's go ahead and double click to get the enter mode going, and I'm going to type the word shoes. And notice as I type, Excel recognizes what I've entered in the previous cell when I'm in the column, right? But I'm going to continue to type because my words are different. Shoes, right? If I needed that, it's an easy way of entering data, repetitive data in a column, right? All right. Now, the other thing I could do here, if I press the arrow key instead of the enter button, right, that takes me as well to the next cell below, right? And again, I'm in the ready mode. If I want to be in the enter mode, I must select the cell. All right, so what if we put just some sandals here? Right? And if you did use the enter button, right, we are still on the same cell. So we'll still have to either use the directional button, right? So pressing the enter button, pressing the tab button, or pressing the arrow keys, right? So if I'm trying to enter data below the cell, I'm going to press the enter button. I'm not even going to worry about whether I spell the word correctly, because I purposely didn't spell it correctly because I want you to see what happens when we do corrections or edit mode. All right, so we'll come back to that. All right, next step, let's say there are accessories, right? So accessories to regional shoes. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. All right, and continue, enter button, and now I'm going to put, let's say, miscellaneous. right? And notice I do have some spelling errors, right? But I purposely did that because I want to show you how we can make those corrections. Okay? All right, so now that we have our labels, notice a few things. The data in the A column still appears to be in the B column, but it's really not, right? It's really not. Why? Because there's no data in the B column. That's why it appears that way. You'll see what happens when we enter data in the B column. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and let's enter some data. Now, I'm simply double clicking on a cell, going into the enter mode and entering data, right? Now you have the options of either entering your data horizontally or vertically. I'm going to enter, first I'm going to enter the data vertically, down the column, right? So all I have to do is press the enter button to go to the next data. All right, and I can repeat that process. And notice I am not worried about my alignment or my spelling at this point. I'm just simply entering data. Now, notice as I type the data in the B cell, the data in the A cell that appeared to be in the adjacent cell now is contained in its own cell. That's because I've placed data next to it, next to the adjacent cell. For example, miscellaneous or accessory, right? Oh, and I forgot to, let's say, misspell miscellaneous as well. Let's we go ahead. We have a couple of words misspelled. But anyway, so just want to show you how that works. Okay, now what if we wanted to enter the data horizontally instead of vertically? I simply use the tab key, right? So let's show you how to do that. I'm using the tab key on my keyboard. And we'll tab over to the next, and notice I'm simply typing as I tab key over. Even though I'm in the ready mode, I'm not even double clicking at this point, I'm just simply typing. Right? So I just tab over and type my data, right? All right, now, again, if I wanted to, I can use the arrow key to go down to the next, right? The next cell, or I can use my enter key. See my enter key? And that takes me to the next column B. And now I can use my tab key again to continue to type data. And I'm just using the tab key and typing my numbers. Now, if I overshot my tab key, not a problem, right? I simply press the enter button to go to the next row. And continue using my tab key here. All right, and again, I'm at the end of my data here at South. So I press the enter button. That takes me to the next row, B8, and I can use my tab key. Now, as I said, if you overshot or the data, you could still use the enter button that will take you to the next row. All right, here again, tab key, enter key, and then tab key. All right, and I'm just entering some numbers just to show you, these are called values. Numbers are called values just to show you how to enter information. Not too concerned about what the numbers are at this point, but just how to enter them and what happens, right? All right, so a couple of things happen. We could look at our spreadsheet and we can see that there are some spelling errors, right? And you may want to correct those spelling errors by using the speller, but a spell checker, which is cute too, but we want to show you how you can click back in the cell. Notice the information appear in the formula bar as well as in the cell, right? So if I wanted to change text within the cell or overwrite the text in the cell, I would need to click on the cell or double click in the cell and go to my edit mode. See, edit mode. All right, did you see that edit mode? All right, so now I can make my correction. I could type over, I can make correction to the misspelled area of the word simply by clicking on the word using my directional key to go where in the word that I want to go to. Right, like all right. So I'm using my arrow key because I'm in the edit mode. So I'm editing just as if I'm in Word or any other kind of editor, right? So regional shoe sales, right? All right, so I can do that, or it can go back to the other words that I think may be misspelled. All right, here's another one, double click on that. Again, that puts us in edit mode, and we can use the backspace key, or we can type over the word. About accessory, about miscellaneous, same thing here, right? You can double click on the word, use the arrow keys, because now you're in a cell in edit mode. Right? And notice that if I hit the enter button, I'm going to go to the next cell. So the cell that has the data on in it is the one that I want to be looking at to make it active. Okay, so now that we've entered our data, we're simply showing you how to enter data in the spreadsheet, right? There's a lot more to do with the spreadsheet, and that is going to be in our next lesson, okay? All right, great job. First step, learning how to enter labels and values, right? So text are labels, label, title label. Labels actually tells us what data we have in our spreadsheet, right? This is regional, so it's east, west, north, and south. And east, west, north, and south have values in them, right? So labels actually explains what values are, right? That's why we always need labels in our report to tell us what the values are. All right, for example, sneakers. These are sneaker sale in the east, sneaker sales in the west, sneaker sales in the north, sneaker sales in the south, right? And so entering the labels describe what type of values we're going to be using in our report. Okay, guys, I will see you in the next module. Great job.